1. Mechanics come first. Especially if you are new to hack and slash games, you need to know how to control your character. Genre veterans will try to tell you these classes are easy to play and that game sense is what matters, but that's a freaking lie, dude. They take their hundreds of hours for granted. This game is hard and you shouldn't be ashamed if you're struggling with the controls. Now, how do you alleviate this? How do you catch up with people who've played these games for years? You're going to harness the power of working smarter, not harder. Go into the personal training grounds for 20 minutes or longer and familiarize yourself with your kit as much as possible. Here's the thing, trying to learn how to play a video game through just watching videos is useless. Trying to learn your kit in the middle of a real fight is also unproductive. You won't really ingrain any learning into your mind without feeling it yourself in a low-pressure environment. Why would you start a game of basketball if you don't know how to dribble yet? It's easier to learn to dribble when you don't have an opponent in your face. If you don't even know how to control your class, you're not playing the game yet. You want to be thinking about the mind games and what your opponent is doing, not what attack you should be using next. While you're in the training grounds, practice getting headshots and experiment stringing together different attacks back to back. You want a loose idea of the speed, range, damage, cooldown, energy usage, and recovery time of every possible attack and skill at your disposal. You'll want to practice and gain the muscle memory to learn this stuff more easily. You'll notice there's countless little nuances, many of which you already know. This is a list of examples you're supposed to learn organically through play. Don't overwhelm yourself trying to memorize these details. You need muscle memory. The third light attack in your chain takes longer to come out, is harder to headshot with, and it has a longer recovery period. Impalement takes slightly longer to hit than your third attack, but has more reach, more damage, and more control. It gives you 2 stacks of sword tip or shield pressure instead of 1. Any of your 3 light attacks can chain instantly into stacked slash or shockwave strike. That means it can skip the recovery period of your third, slower light attack as well. Impalement cannot chain into stacked slash or shockwave strike. You typically want to avoid using them right after impalement, unless you're in a special situation like making some kind of read. You're better off following impalement with a light attack most of the time. The timing of when you can block or parry after recovering from an attack is the same as the timing of when you can dodge. You regain energy during your light attacks. Impalement uses energy. Your energy regeneration pauses when you're blocking, as well as using stacked slash or shockwave strike. There's a ton of other little details about Mercenary that are too numerous to put in this video, but you get the idea. Learn how to control your class before anything else. One final note in this section, believe in yourself. A lot of gamers lately have been doomer about age or talent or not having enough time, but you need to be practice-pilled. Like when you're shooting hoops in basketball, daily practice really does work. There's countless studies that show that daily studying is better than cramming. I'm too lazy to link any, but you believe me. Bulk hours help, but frequency is king. Even if you can't play a lot, playing daily can and will make you good. Honestly, I could even use more training grounds time myself since my headshot accuracy has been kinda lacking. 2. How to engage melee opponents. When you're fighting melee opponents, try to observe their animations and identify what their skills are. This will help you decide your tactics for getting in the first hit. You don't have to play every class as a beginner, but just pay attention to what people are doing and make sure you learn something when you lose a fight. If a Shadow Strix uses spinning slash the moment you enter range, you can assume he'll do that again later on, and you'll be ready to dodge, block, or parry that. If you're running Resilient Body, make sure you always get to 10 stacks before fighting. Mercenary has amazing hitboxes and attack speed with the sword, so once you're at 10 stacks, walk up and try to get a reaction from your opponent. Hold your shield up to discourage fast attacks that are hard to react to. Throw some light attacks or impalements from just outside of range or simply dodge towards them to see if they react with a parry or dodge. Their initial response can inform you on how aggressive or reactive or defensive they're going to be. As a beginner, it will be a bit harder to make use of this info, but you want to get into the habit of feeling out your opponent. The best case scenario is the enemy commits to an attack that you can dodge and counterattack or even shield dash into for a free stun. If you're running whirling dash, you can use that to engage since it's quite fast. Some opponents are fast enough to react, so I like to dodge forward once, wait a second, and then go for the whirling dash. Dodge and whirling dash look pretty similar at the beginning of their animations. Once you land that first hit, get in a light attack and then be ready to follow your enemy after their breakaway. If they don't use their breakaway immediately, they're trying to save it so you can continue throwing light attacks to force it out. 3. How to engage ranged opponents. One of the biggest mistakes you can make against ranged is blowing all of your dodges trying to close the gap onto them. If you do this, they'll have all of their dodges available to avoid whatever you try to hit them with, and you'll be a sitting duck for them to shoot down the moment they leave your range. In order to beat a ranged player, you need to avoid big open areas at all costs. Killing a ranged player here can be done, but it's unnecessary. Take advantage of corners or obstacles or indoor environments. You find ranged classes annoying? Don't. Just be the annoying one. Take cover as much as you can, let them get impatient and come to you. The majority of players will just come to you. Keep in mind that the ranged classes do have some AoEs that can punish you if you hug the corner too hard, so be ready to back up a little bit or dodge from behind cover. If they have to round a corner and get close just to gain line of sight on you, this is your moment to strike. Ideally, you'll open the fight by dodging through their first attack when they round the corner. You can also attempt to block it with a shield dash for a stun onto them, but some classes have stuns and other tools to hit you through your block, so be careful. Once you get in that first hit, just be relentless. You want to use 1 or 2 dodges at the start, and then rely on skills or attacks to stick onto them and force their dodges. Watch for their spell or charge animations, and try to time your dodges with them. Save your dodges for as long as you can because ranged players desperately want a dodge energy advantage on you in order to fight back. Again, avoid using your dodges just to close the gap. Make sure you're avoiding something every time you dodge. Make sure you stay near cover. If your initial engagement isn't perfect, just run back to cover and hold the corner while potioning up and using your shield. It's much easier to re-engage when they walk back up to you than it is to continue chasing after a bad start. If they kite you away from cover, you'll have nowhere to run if you run out of gas. This works wonders against the majority of ranged players, and they have to be really good to counter this tactic. 4. Here's what most of you guys are here for: how to combo. Mercenary is probably the best class for catching people right after their breakaway. Their combo potential between Impalement and Stacked Slash or Shockwave Strike is unmatched by the other classes. One of your most common ways of winning fights as Mercenary is trapping your opponent in a vortex. The vortex is a fighting game term that means any mix-up that loops into itself. If your opponent guesses wrong on when and where to dodge, you'll hit them with an impalement, and they get thrown right back into another combo and have to try again on their next breakaway. If you catch 2 breakaways in a row, the fight is basically over. As you probably know by now, it typically takes 2 hits to activate a breakaway window. This is the most important moment in the fight and determines how long your fights are going to be. Breakaway recovers slowly over time as well as when you deal or take damage, so if you catch somebody with a hit right after their breakaway, you can deal a lot more than just 2 hits of damage. After activating somebody's breakaway window, your most common answer is to use Impalement right away. You can also attempt to chase them with a gap closing ability like Whirling Dash or Shield Dash. Impalement is one of the few attacks in this game that let you redirect it mid-animation, and it's a mini gap closer. It is a bit of a slower attack, so it's often best not to wait to see which direction the enemy dodges, because that will give them time to double dodge or counterattack you. Most people just spam their breakaway immediately. If this happens, there's usually enough time for you to react and aim your Impalement to follow them. Try to aim at them sooner rather than later because Impalement likes to go off course if you move your camera at the last moment. You're going to want a good sensitivity on your mouse or controller to let you do quick 180s while still having enough accuracy to land headshots. If they wait to see your Impalement charging before dodging, you'll have to predict which way they're going to dodge and aim ahead of time. If your Impalement misses, you can attempt a light attack follow-up or a second Impalement or chase with a skill like Whirling Dash, but this is risky because most opponents will have a counterattack ready for you. Shadow Strix and Withered Knight both have dodge attacks that can chain right after a dodge, so be ready to dodge these if you miss. Most classes also have some sort of parry or super armor to counter you if you're slow on your follow-up, so be careful. If you do land that Impalement after their first breakaway, this is where you go crazy. Depending on how quickly you catch them, you get 3 to 5 hits on the enemy before their second breakaway window. Most of the time, you can try to land as many light attacks as possible to get yourself valuable sword tip or shield pressure stacks. If you have Whirling Cut available, especially with the Whirling Edge talent, it's an amazing damage bomb and stack generator after catching a breakaway. If you have spare energy and you know that the next hit will activate their breakaway window, you can go for another Impalement for more damage and stacks. Once they blow their second breakaway, you'll usually have enough stacks to chase them with Stacked Slash or Shockwave Strike. These abilities have longer range and better hitboxes than Impalement. Stacked Slash comes out much faster than Impalement, and Shockwave Strike lets you block almost the entire animation, which beats any potential counterattacks from the enemy. The one downside to Shockwave Strike and Stacked Slash is that they're not great at doing 180s compared to Impalement. So if your opponent only dodges straight through you every time, just do a 180 Impale trying to predict their movement. That's known as a read. If you pull that off, you should be proud because you're already playing mind games. 5. The most important lesson. If you're going to take anything from this video, it's this section. You need to have a learning mindset. There's this thing about people's mindset when they only have an hour to play their favorite game. You only have a few chances to score some fat loot, so when you lose, it's much more frustrating than it is for someone with 5 hours to play. This is just human, and it's natural to feel this way, but you have to fight it. I want you to shift your conditions for having fun away from victory or defeat and towards figuring out the game. Create a long-term game for yourself where the only victory condition is learning. Extraction game veterans will all tell you that any improvement to your skills is much more valuable than legendary loot. Knowledge is to acceleration as loot is to speed. Video games are supposed to be fun, so have fun. Don't kick yourself if you're doing poorly, just be patient with yourself, relax, and enjoy the journey. That's the gist of it, guys. There's a lot more nuances in mind games that Mercenary has access to, but you want to focus on solidifying your learning with proper practice. Get off of YouTube and start fighting people. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments. I read every single one and reply to almost everything. Nothing gets me more excited than seeing one of you guys comment. This video had more effort than usual. I work a day job and don't use AI, and I do all of my editing on my own. I really wanted to make an absolute banger out of this video for you guys, so I put in a good dozen hours producing this video. That doesn't include the time I spent playing the game to learn all of it. If you liked this content and think it was worth the extra effort, throw me a like and subscribe and let me know you want more of this. I'm going to be releasing some intermediate and advanced Merc tips pretty soon, as well as some general Mistfall tips, so stay tuned. Good luck, Guild Hunters. I'll see you guys around.